Let's talk to Helen Joyce, journalist and author of Trans, When Ideology Meets Reality, because Laura Woods, a woman that we know well here because she used to do the breakfast show on TalkSport. She now does presenting on ITV and does an awful lot of sports stuff. She's been off, I suppose, recently. I mean, she did the Euros. I don't think I've seen her since then. She's pregnant because she's having a baby. She decided quite rightly, in my view, to put a comment on a tweet that was put out by Daily Telegraph's chief sports writer Oliver Brown about the furore surrounding Imani Khelif, you know, the Algerian boxer who won a gold medal fighting women while being biologically male. Now, basically, he said that Mr. Brown's piece questioned why two biologically male boxers, Imani Khelif and Lin Yu Ting, were allowed to compete in the summer's Olympics in Paris. And afterwards, she said, "Great article, Ollie." That's it, 3 words. She's since been attacked by all manner of ghastly people. She says, since I replied to this article, I've had numerous death threats to myself and my unborn child, questions on my own gender, calls from my employers to sack me, threats to my home. I've been called racist, a bigot and sexist, as well as various insults. I've also been asked why I haven't raised any concerns on this topic before. And to me, Helen, a very good morning to you. This kind of shows how ghastly and toxic the trans debates sort of have become in this country, and the people who wish to be in support of trans seem to be incapable of doing it in a way which is not horrible.
Yeah, and people often say this toxic debate thing. So, for example, Dr. Hilary Cass said that when her report came out. She said that doctors didn't feel that they could talk about how to treat gender-distressed kids because of the toxic debate. But it isn't a toxic debate. The toxicity is really all on one side, and I think that's what we see here with Laura. She said something very reasonable. The Telegraph's chief sports writer, Oliver Brown, has absolutely done the best coverage on this in the press, in the print press in this country. She just said, well done to him. And, you know, she gets death threats and gets called the C word, gets called a racist. I'm sadly familiar with this. This is how it goes. You say something reasonable, and in return, you're called a racist and told you deserve to die. Right.
And obviously a lot of this comes not so much from women, not even so much from trans women, but an awful lot of it comes from men, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that women support trans ideology a bit more than men. It's still a minority of women, a small minority, but it's more common among young women than any other group. But they don't tend to be the ones saying, suck my, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I think a lot of angry young men see that this is somewhere that you can insult women with impunity, that you can get told you're a good person for saying the sort of things that would get you, you know, far out beyond anything Andrew Tate would ever say. So they gravitate to it.
But it's interesting because a lot of them tend to be, when I ever see this kind of conversation going on, and I'm amazingly, I haven't really been attacked by this lot for some reason. I don't know why. It's a one group of people that haven't attacked me, because most of them do. But tell me if you know why. But basically, what I see is often a lot of very left-wing young men who seem to think that that women don't have any rights at all.
Yeah, it's because you're a man. This specifically is a movement that demands that women give up their rights for men. Trans ideology doesn't impose on men particularly because men are stronger and men don't need single-sex spaces for safety the same way that women do. So this is a movement about getting men into women's spaces and getting women to shut the hell up. So the abuse is really almost entirely directed at women.
And it's terrible. I mean, because I know Laura quite well, and she's a you know, wonderful person. She's a good broadcaster. She does a great job when she's on TV, and you know, she certainly doesn't deserve to have anything like this thrown at her for 3 little words, which literally, you know, great article, Ollie, or something like that. And the other thing I wonder about is, you know, with this current climate of zero tolerance for social media posts which is thought to be a bit hateful, I mean, are we going to see the police cracking down on this kind of thing now?
No, very much the opposite. My colleague Maya Forstater is waiting for the Crown Prosecution Service to make a decision on whether to prosecute her for pointing out that a man who is a GP and who identifies as a woman shouldn't be doing intimate exams on women on the basis that he too is a woman. So it's all one way. This is like 100% one way. I've never seen anything as unbalanced as this in my life before.
And so the police, because the police, of course, have kind of been infected in some ways, haven't they, by some of this ideology, and they daren't actually question it, daren't do anything about it.
I think they like it. I mean, I think it's the same as the way that the police used to say that domestic violence was, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. She asked for it and so on. People, I mean, I've talked to police, including senior police officers, for government consultations, and nothing comes out in the write-up of it. Nothing about what I've experienced, which is so hateful and so dangerous, including crimes that I've had to report that have led to prosecutions and convictions.
Right.
They just think, she must have brought it on herself. They think I must be saying something so hateful that the world's most oppressed people have to fight back against me. And when all I'm saying is there are two sexes and you can't change sex.
Yes. And of course, the other argument that they make all the time is that why can't people just be what they want to be? Well, it's not really quite as simple as that, is it?
Well, if you want to box against women, you're going to have to prove that you are female. The same way that if you want to box against flyweight people, you're going to have to prove that you're below the weight limit.
Right.
It's really that simple. I have no problem with Khalif living however Khalif wants to live. I do have a problem as soon as someone comes into the boxing ring if they're not female and it's a female fight. This is the literally most dangerous thing that someone could do, because punching power is the biggest difference between the sexes. This is literally like allowing Mike Tyson into a flyweight match. It's that big a differential in strength. It's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Well, we'll look forward to seeing what the police are going to do about this, but thank you, Helen Joyce, journalist and author of Trans, When Ideology Meets Reality, because it's been a terrible, terrible week for poor Laura Woods, who's getting all sorts of abuse, which she should not be getting. It's absolutely and utterly wrong, and I'm very happy to say that I stand in support of her, and I'll send her my best wishes. So good on you, Laura.